tariff barriers and non-tariff barriers, i.e. regulatory standards, for example, that differ by countries, have to all be looked at. So I don't think you take any tool off the table. And so, yeah, I would agree that that's one of the things that have to be looked at. Border adjustment taxes, as an example. When you've got surplus countries and deficit countries, and one's based on unfairness, subsidy of capital, subsidy of labor, then how to create fairness, fair trade, not free trade, is what I think he's addressing with that statement. So I wouldn't take anything off the table.
Do you think it is appropriate to bash companies or CEOs by tweet?
I think all of us CEOs, I'm 13 years in this job, so I've seen a lot. This advent of operating at the speed of live, where everything's in the instant, has infected everything we do as CEOs. Everything. So short-termism, how to make decisions in the instant, being attacked by various parties that don't understand your value proposition. I think you've got to work with everyone so you can actually interact and communicate in the way they communicate. And I'm okay with this notion of putting everything out there and responding to it.
What did you think of President Xi's speech this morning? As I listened to it, it was a speech that a Communist Party head giving a speech that sounded more like the sort of thing that might have come from a US president or a Western leader.
I was in China just last week, and I met not him, but he's right below him, his leadership. I think China's going into a complete new phase of openness and transparency, but guess what? They want to be global. And to be global, they're going to have to play away. When they play away, they're going to hit the issues we all hit, which is, what does away look like when you don't have fair advantage? You know, how do I actually do more business in the United States as a Chinese company? These are issues that exist for China as much as they do for the United States.
Now it seems that Britain has basically ruled out remaining in the single market. It was perhaps an inevitability if they don't want to take freedom of movement of labour. Will that affect your company, do you think? Will you now have to think about your UK subsidiaries and companies shifting more production, shifting more assets to Europe?
Absolutely not that way. We won't be shifting just to go to Europe to access Europe. We already are in Europe. Does it make us look at the UK differently? It does. I was on record 6 months ago when the UK went through all this, and I said, if any country's going to learn how to be on its own, this is the poster child of a country that has been on its own for most of its existence. The UK, and its various manifestations, knows how to compete globally. It gave us many of the modern technologies we now use. I would bet on Britain being able to operate on its own. Now, my company and what we do, it depends on its market, its regulations, and fair rules. And I look forward to seeing those come out of a UK that isn't part of the EU.